it might be easier for him to come out with a statement like he did than to actually come out and say, you know what, we've been in an open relationship for 20 years.
You know, just because you and I are in an open relationship, you fathering a child to somebody else is not the vibe.
Like the word cheating was not used in that statement.
My name is Abby.
And my name is Liam, and you are listening to the Evolving Love podcast.
In this podcast, we deep dive into the topics of non-monogamy and relationships, drawing from our experiences of being consensually non-monogamous for over a decade.
Whether you're monogamous, polyamorous, curious, or anything in between, we invite you to join us for this conversation.
Let's begin.
Welcome to another episode of the Evolving Love podcast, and today we have a big hot take for everyone.
For those of you who are on Instagram and following, pop culture, life, relationships, different bits and pieces, you may have seen that Dave Grohl, lead singer of the Foo Fighters, has come out with a statement admitting that he has fathered a baby with a woman outside of his marriage.
Yes, and we have lots of thoughts about this, and we have some potentially, some big hot takes to offer up to you, dear listener, about whether Dave Grohl might actually be non-monogamous. But before we get stuck into that, you have something very special coming up very soon.
I do. It is coming up next month and there are still some places available. My women's retreat, which is happening at beautiful Heart Space in the Yass Valley in New South Wales. That is from the 25th till the 27th of October. So please do email me or send me a message on Instagram if you'd like some more information and I will send you all the details.
And there's a few extra things as well that we wanted to talk about just at the top of the episode before we get really stuck into the weeds with the Dave Grohl situation. And one thing that we want to talk about, first of all, is the fact that we're trying out some new sexy lighting. So for those of you who are premium subscribers, you are able to access the full video episodes of these podcasts. So you'll be able to see us in the sexy red and pink glow that we are in this evening.
Yeah, we've been having many discussions about it, and I was like, we need to change it up. We did have lighting like this, I think, a while back, and then things changed. We were podcasting out of our living room for a while, and I think that sort of changed the vibe. And then we're back in this studio room, and now we're making it a little bit more moody again.
Yes, yeah, we're taking it back to the roots. The sexy podcasting roots. So if you would like to see the video, you can become a premium subscriber. But also talking about that, we have a big announcement to make in regards to the direction of the podcast. And the big announcement, obviously we've been podcasting now for a few years, and this year is the first year that we have been releasing every week, which has been really exciting. It's been lots of work, which we have loved. We've been chatting with some wonderful guests, with some wonderful experts, some of our heroes in the non-monogamous space and also beyond the non-monogamous space. But it has also meant that it's been taking a lot of time and we've been putting a lot of effort into the podcast, which we absolutely adore doing. And one thing that we have noticed is that by having the podcast behind a paywall, so one episode is free for everyone, and then the next episode we have been doing it behind a paywall, has been quite difficult to grow the podcast.
It's incredibly difficult to grow a podcast if it's behind a paywall, and I think it can work when the podcast is a lot larger. But I think where we're at in our podcasting journey, we are still such a young podcast.
We're baby podcasters.
We are still baby podcasters. So even though our listenership is growing, our audience is growing, I think it would probably grow faster. And we've been reading the books, we've been reading the articles.
We've been reading all the books. We have reached out to some podcast hosts that we really respect, their opinion, and everyone has been unanimous in saying that it is extremely difficult to grow a podcast behind a paywall. So, of course, we wanted to be flexible and we wanted to pivot. As being a young podcast, we want to kind of experiment really and just see what it would be like putting all the episodes from here on out not behind a paywall. So this means a few different things, I guess. So for those premium subscribers who are already premium subscribers to the podcast, they will still get all your amazing writing behind the paywall. They will still get all the photos, the extra photos. And we do have some other things that we are toying with. I know Substack has live video that they're about to deploy. And this is something that we are going to be exploring in the future for our premium subscribers.
Yes, we'll definitely still be having premium content, with video and everything like that. But we're just finding our way with it, and it's a journey. And I think, with these things, we can try new things, and then sometimes not everything lands, not everything sort of works out initially the way that we want, and that's totally fine. It's just like we're on the journey. But we really appreciate those of you who have been supporting our journey and who are continuing to be part of it. And we are keeping all of our previous episodes that are behind a paywall. They will stay behind a paywall. So it's from this point out that all of our episodes will be free, and then we will be finding some new ways as well.
And it means that there's, if you would like to support the podcast, there's lots of different ways that you can do that other than just subscribing to the premium Substack. So that can be sharing it with your friends. That can be leaving reviews. That can be leaving ratings on the different podcast players. That makes a huge difference.
Please do that. If you are a person who has many different email accounts, please go on your different email accounts, rate, review, share. All of that would mean so much to us. So you do not have to be a paying subscriber to support us. There are other ways to do so, and we are eternally grateful.
So that is our big announcement out of the way.
I've been having one really exciting idea about one of the things that might be behind a paywall, but I think maybe I should leave it. I think you and I have to discuss it a little bit more before I put it out there.
You can put it out there. I don't mind.
But what I was thinking with some of my erotic writing, I think behind the paywall, maybe I could do some reading of the articles.
Reading.
Yeah, like the audiobook style.
Okay.
Of some of my erotic Substacks.
Are there going to be sound effects as well? How erotic?
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Are you going to do this? We're going to make it a whole thing.
Shall I rehearse the sound effects right now into the microphone? Probably not.
Oh no, don't.
Not those type of sound effects.
Okay, we need to discuss this more. This is how we brainstorm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, how deep are we going to go into the erotic stories?
Well, it depends on the story.
Okay.
There are some pretty juicy ones.
I mean, you're choosing interesting words at the moment to describe these stories. But okay. Well, I'll start brainstorming some sound effects.
Yes, you.
I'll do
sound
some
effects.
research.
ASMR.
Yeah, ASMR.
Okay, that's what we'll do. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll have to reach out to some of our ASMR friends who are into it. We do have a few friends.
We do, yeah.
Amy McNee, she's an amazing ASMRer.
Is she?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she holds the microphone really close to her mouth.
I mean, I just love her voice so much. I feel like she is just any time that I need some wisdom or some love or some guidance, she is the creative doula. Please check out her work if you haven't already.
Yes.
She's
got a big book coming out as well.
She has a big book coming out, and her Instagram page is Inspired to Write.
Yes.
And it has helped me on so many occasions.
So do you want to practice reading? Do you want to say a line from an erotic story?
Well, I haven't memorized them.
Well, you haven't memorized them? Okay.
Like that, wouldn't that be weird if I'd memorized them all? I just want
to hear you whisper.
Write them and
I just want to hear you whisper a line into the microphone.
Would I be whispering?
I don't know. It's up to you.
Okay, so my sexy voice.
Okay, here we go. This is us debuting Abby's erotic sexy voice.
And then I opened the door and I saw him from across the room.
Okay, and then the sound effect. That was the door kind of opening.
Interesting door.
Yeah, it was a creaky door.
Okay, creaky door.
Mm-hmm.
That fits. I feel like we've got a creaky door.
Okay, and then you walk into the room.
Okay, and then I walk into the room. Okay, hang on.
Are you in stilettos?
Stilettos.
I don't know.
How very 2016 of me.
Well, I mean, I say that because I need to know for the sound effects.
Okay. And my heels clicked across the floor. I saw a light shining from the room at the back of the house.
I don't know how to do a light shining. That's a spotlight.
And my hand clasped the door handle. And I opened the door and there they were in a full embrace.
Okay, there we go.
That's getting weird.
Okay, that was getting weird. Okay, let us know if that titillates you. Obviously, it'll be a much higher production quality.
It would be high production quality
Yes.
and it wouldn't be silly.
No, it'd be 100% serious.
Yes.
But also, it could be silly. Maybe we could do I don't know. We can mess around with it.
We'll see.
We could get some actor friends to like really juice it up for us.
Oh gosh. Okay.
How deep are we going to get into
We'll
this?
wish that we just stayed with the premium episode the other
Okay,
week. Because you and I go really hard with things.
Yeah, okay.
Before we know it, it'll be some like movie production, something or other.
I mean, that's also a possibility.
Oh gosh. We'll have to get Casey Calvert back on.
Absolutely. There we go.
Any excuse.
Any excuse. Maybe this was the whole point of this was so that we could have Casey back on.
Oh, and hasn't she got a beautiful voice?
Oh, she does. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Great call. We're going to investigate this.
I was like, maybe I'll put on different accents.
Okay. Are we going to try one out?
I don't know. No, not right now.
Okay. You want to practice that?
I need to practice.
Okay.
I'm getting carried away. I'm going on tangents.
We will not get carried away anymore. But this is all to say that we will have lots of exciting things for premium subscribers.
That's right.
So again, thank you for your support. And this podcast from this point on is going to be completely free.
Woo!
There you go. Let's get into Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl. Okay, first of all, I think we need to read out the statement that he shared on Instagram two days ago.
So Dave Grohl has an Instagram account.
How many followers does he have?
1.5 million.
Okay.
So he's doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
Decent numbers. His Instagram handle is Dave's True Stories. And nothing could be truer than this story, apparently. So this is his full statement that he posted on Instagram. I've recently become the father of a new baby daughter, born outside of my marriage. I plan to be a loving and supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my children, and I'm doing everything I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. We're grateful for your consideration toward all the children involved as we move forward together. Dave.
Ooh, tricky.
Look, I mean, this is a big one.
So comments were turned off on that.
Of course. Can you imagine the detritus in the comment section?
Well, there are comments coming, about on other platforms that are sharing about it, and everyone's like, he's cheating and he's just another cheating man, and this is all, what a disaster.
Well, before we get into it, I think we should frame this by talking about what our perception of Dave Grohl and what a lot of people's perception of Dave Grohl has been over these many years he has been in the public spotlight. Because of course there was Nirvana, there was everything. He's been like a massive celebrity superstar for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what has been how did you feel whenever you saw a picture of Dave Grohl?
Okay, well, he's a very good looking man.
Yes.
He's definitely got daddy energy.
Okay.
And I've actually seen him in real life. We have walked past Dave Grohl
Yes, we have.
On the street.
Yeah, outside Crosby Street Hotel.
Street. Yeah, I don't think it was at the hotel, but it was
right across the street. I remember exactly because you had finished work.
Okay.
And then I met you after work.
That's
and
right.
It was during the day. It was in the afternoon.
But it was across the road.
And it was right across the road. And I remember him walking past and I went, holy shit, that is Dave Grohl. And you were like, and then because sometimes I think people are celebrities and they're not. And then you go, that wasn't that person. But then you were like, oh shit, that was Dave Grohl.
That was Dave Grohl. And he walked right past us.
Very quickly.
He's just so tall.
Very tall.
And so handsome.
Good looking man.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he was in boot. He looked quite similar vibe to you actually.
Got some Dave Grohl daddy energy.
Totally. Yeah, just an absolute rock star.
But I feel like the reason I bring that up is because
he's a beautiful guy.
Well, his public image is that he's a family man. He's got 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think his youngest is 18 now.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been, his public persona has always been that of the lovable family guy who doesn't do many wrong things.
That's you.
Well,
you're a lovable family guy. You're a family man. You're all of the, you adore me. You love your wife. You play music.
Yeah.
You are that person.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think a lot of people can't reconcile or they can't, it's a shock to hear something.
It is a shock. It comes with added weight when you read something and find out something like this.
Because people are living in a monogamous fairy tale delusion.
Yes.
Where they think, you can't be this like doting, loving husband.
Oh,
and then
absolutely.
also either make a big mistake.
Yes.
Or be in an open relationship.
Yes. Now, an important part of this whole topic and this whole situation for us is how it's been portrayed in the media. Because the media has read that statement and assumed that he has cheated on his wife, right? But at no point in that statement does he say, I've cheated on my wife. He says, I need to regain their trust, etc. But he never says, I have been unfaithful to my wife at any point.
But he does mention something about forgiveness, doesn't he?
Yes. Okay,
so I've read some of the online discourse with this, and people are saying, it's fine because they must be in an open relationship, and that would be totally fine. So why would he say asking forgiveness? Because if it's an open relationship, it's not the cheating. Now, the thing is, I think they could very well be in an open relationship.
Yes.
And there are a lot of, he's this rock star. He's like, obviously a very dynamic person. I think it would be pretty tricky to stay monogamous when you're like in that type of lifestyle. There's constantly validation, but also it could be quite lonely. Like you might want to have some sort of connection. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in the ins and outs of it, but if they have an open relationship, I'm sure that one of their rules, or just whether it was spoken or not spoken,
was don't get someone pregnant.
Don't get someone pregnant. Like don't do that, because they are a family unit. You know what I mean? So it's like, just because you and I are in an open relationship, like, you fathering a child to somebody else is not the vibe. That is not a part of anything that feels good or right for us.
Yes.
Like we are not that type of non-monogamous, polyamorous where that is a thing.
No. And
so that would be a betrayal. Like I think
of course
you would have to come and, there would have to be, therapy and like forgiveness, like working through that. Like that would be huge.
Right.
The reality of that.
Yeah.
That's the betrayal.
Oh, of course. And I mean, that is what he would be seeking forgiveness for.
Exactly.
And it's very possible. So the way that the various media outlets have framed this, these are some of the headlines from the outlets. Who did Dave Grohl have an affair with? So using the word affair, right? Dave Grohl's viral cheating announcement sparks an avalanche of tea from his ex. Avalanche of tea? I'm not too sure about what that means.
It means drama. It means gossip. It's like a Gen Z thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Spill the tea.
Spill the tea.
What's the tea? You haven't heard of it yet?
I'm old. I'm as old as Dave Grohl.
I've known that one for years.
Oh, shit. Jackie O's surprising theory about Dave Grohl affair scandal could be Australian. So there's all these rumors going around that the baby mama isn't Australian. Grohl's wife turns to A-lister amid scandal. So all of the discourse is really centered around the fact that it's an affair, and everyone is using that word, saying that he cheated and that it was an affair.
Well, it's extramarital, and the word that tends to go after extramarital is affair.
Yeah.
So, and there are many people who believe that anything that is outside of the marriage would have to be, it is an affair of sorts. So, I mean, that's understandable. And it's like, of course, tabloids, all of that, they're all going to jump to that. And if they are in an open relationship, I really feel for them. I think this is incredibly difficult. I mean, his wife would feel like everybody thinks she's, being cheated on and that she's in the dark, or she's at home with the kids and he's out, doing who knows what with God knows who. And that would be incredibly difficult because, I mean, she could be, I know nothing, but she could be an incredibly compersive woman. She could have she might know this woman. They could be, metamors, like friends, like you don't know. It's like, and even if they were friends or close, or she knew that he had a lover, the reality of him fathering another, a child to somebody else is very difficult, because I think, I just think of us in that situation, and, there are things that we hold sacred to our relationship. And I think the key element of
Not
that
to have
for
a baby
us,
with someone else.
it's our family unit.
Yeah, of course.
We are the family unit. And, so it's a huge thing.
Yeah. Well, when he came out with this statement, you have to also imagine what he's thinking in that moment, because for him, he could feel that the best thing to do is to not address the fact that he's had an open relationship, which he very might well be in. Let's just be hypothetical about that. And a caveat is we are not best friends with Dave Grohl, so we don't really know. So everything we say is just us pontificating and just making up our own theories of mind. But I will say is that when faced with the decision in this moment, if you were to get your other partner pregnant, it might be easier for him to come out with a statement like he did than to actually come out and say, you know what, we've been in an open relationship for 20 years, and then deal with not only the blowback of him having to explain this, but then also having to explain the nuances of getting his partner pregnant, which is obviously not an ideal situation.
No, and it's like he's in the shitstorm at the moment, and if he came out and said, we're in an open relationship, then everybody's going to turn on his wife and be like, oh, well, what does she expect? Of course. I mean, she asked for this. I mean, who would even allow this? Of course. I mean, he's probably got children all over the world, like all of these things. And it's really hard. He's looking, I think his statement is that it is the least, it's sort of like the least damaging way of sharing the information without putting his wife also out there on the line or anything. It's just like, I fucked up. I'm working through it. I want to be a good dad to this child. And I'm trying to make it right with my family. There's no mention of the mother of the child. So that...
Yeah, well, that would make it even more complicated in terms of if he were to mention, I mean, that statement has obviously been crafted. It wasn't like Dave Grohl was sitting at home for like 10 hours and thought, I'm going to write the best thing possible. No. He had a team of people managing that response.
Of course.
He had his wife looking at that, because whatever he says publicly is also going to impact them. And there's no way that his wife did not read that statement before it went out.
No.
And there's probably no way that maybe potentially his kids didn't read that statement, because they're all adults. So they're all...
And they're off social media now because of this.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like the blowback is just totally insane. But the really interesting thing for me is that he directly addresses the fact that he wants to be a great father to this child. So there's no sense, like you've heard so many scandals with celebrities, having these babies with, fleeting partners and then wanting nothing to do with them, which to me suggests that there might be a connection with the mother or like an added level of intimacy.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think?
Yeah, I definitely see that, because otherwise, money's no worry. He would just write a check, however many millions.
Right.
And then here's the money and anything that you need, and just... I don't want to see the child, or I don't want, but they're good. They're looked after. And there are many celebrities and rock stars that do this. There are NDAs. I'm not quite sure how it works with NDAs when it's babies, but yeah, it probably does.
Oh yeah, totally.
Or they have something in, I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, the fact that he wants to be in the child's life does absolutely insinuate that there is a connection with the mother. So,
yeah. Okay, so looking into a crystal ball, Is there another bombshell announcement statement that he could do where he goes, just so everyone knows, it's going great with my wife. We've worked through, I didn't mean to get her pregnant. I broke one of our non-monogamous rules, which is don't get your partner pregnant. But now everything's worked out, and she's going to move in with us, and we're a throuple.
I don't think that there'll be any statements like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if down the track there will be maybe photos of them all together, or like his, grown up children meeting their sibling and maybe his wife in a photo.
So this is in the non-monogamous, if it is a non-monogamous outcome.
If it's a non-monogamous outcome.
Because obviously we're talking hypothetically.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. We don't know. Yeah. I mean, that could be an option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one, and it's one of those things where you hear it and then you can't help it immediately put yourself in the shoes and go, what would we do?
Maybe he's going to have his next album will be a polyamorous love note.
Well, I mean, that's good because we need more polyamorous love songs.
Polyamorous rock stars.
I mean, he's in a good spot, I guess, financially. He can sort of navigate this pretty well. I think for a lot of people who are, they have their families, they're just like regular, people with like 9-to-5 jobs, like you're not a superstar millionaire like Dave Grohl. What would happen if you got someone else pregnant? It's like that would be so hard. Like, you then, as far as like money and, that's such an impact. And I think, one of the benefits for them is that that's not going to impact them. That sort of like the mother isn't going to be like, oh, now we're like, I mean, his wife isn't going to be like, now we're down on money because you're paying these childcare.
No, they've got plenty of money. That's not the issue. It's probably the press that would be hounding them.
The issue is the press.
And also people trying to figure out who the mother is. Like imagine the mother of the baby who's decided, I'm going to keep the baby. Imagine the pressure. Like it's amazing that hasn't been leaked yet. And I know there's all these, we alluded to, there's all these kind of fan theories about, is the mother Australian?
Yeah, where did you hear that?
I mean, that's just going around.
Like you read it somewhere?
Yeah, I read it on like news.com.au, which is not the, and this is the other classic thing is that there's all these like sources coming out and saying, the wife is just so heartbroken over all the cheating and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, did they really say that? Because it's not said, like the word cheating was not used in that statement.
It wasn't used. And I think this comes down to people's lack of awareness that, the wife might have consented and been, this is a consensual non-monogamous dynamic and there isn't any cheating. It's a difficult, uncomfortable, clearly a really hard moment for his wife because this is not a part of the arrangement. If it is an arrangement, it certainly wouldn't be for me.
No. Well, it brings up the question as well for me of vasectomies. Like Dave Grohl is mid-50s, right?
I'm pretty sure he's 55 and and
he's still firing.
I mean, he's a rock star. If he's out there, he's on the road, he's traveling, he's gorgeous. He can have, anybody. I'm sure there would be so many women who would want to be with him. And that is also, that's a difficult sort of spot to be in too, because people like looking up to you, they're idolizing you. You can have anyone you want. But I mean, sure, that would also, you could shut down a bit. But I mean, if he is out there having affairs, affairs, or it is, open relationship, partners, lovers, maybe they're polyamorous, they're girlfriends. And if he didn't want to father any more children, I just don't understand why he didn't have a vasectomy, or can it break through the vasectomy?
Well, so vasectomies, there is a chance that, I guess there's a small percentage chance that vasectomy, suddenly doesn't work. I think it's like 99.99999. If you have a vasectomy and wear a condom, the chances of getting someone pregnant when you're 55 are pretty small. But obviously what has happened in this situation is the person has gone, I'm pregnant and it's your baby. And then he would go, okay, well, you have to prove that it's my baby. Like they
would have had the paternity test and done the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then the partner's gone, okay, well, I want to keep the baby. And knowing how much this is going to affect everything. So there's huge, like the snowball effect of all these decisions are just really wild to think about.
That's right. What's the moral of the story?
I mean, there's a lot of morals to the story, but maybe get a vasectomy. I don't know. There's a lot of morals to the story.
I think if you're done having children, it's probably, and you are in some sort of open situation, it's probably
Look, or if you're just a
a
rock
good
star.
idea. But then I think for some people, they don't want to have a vasectomy because, you know, there's a lot of like, it's my masculinity and it's my energy and like, you know, I don't want to. And I know a lot of, you know, celebrities and musicians and performers as well. They don't want to, if things are going really well, they don't want to like change anything, like a superstitious thing. Like I don't want to like have a vasectomy and then I like lose my creative energy, the life force flow, you know, like got to keep it flowing, like there's got to be, you know, maybe there's something like that.
Fertile eggs in the semen to eggs? Are there eggs in the semen? I don't know. Did I just say that
eggs,
wrong?
Yeah. You did.
Okay, I said it wrong.
You did. We're clearly not sexologists. We'll just stay in the realms of...
Okay, we are not scientists. Do not take us scientists.
We're not doctors. We're not scientists. We're not sexologists.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a bummer for them. And I think a vasectomy probably would have maybe helped the situation if he was in an open relationship and definitely didn't want to have children when he's already... But also, he already has grown-up children.
This situation could have been maybe not a bummer for them. Maybe this was an orchestrated, let's get conspiracy theorist on it. I know you don't want to hear it.
No.
But let's get conspiracy theorist on it. So let's say that they're in an open relationship.
Yeah.
Dave Grohl and his wife, they've got a partner. They bring the kids around the table. The kids all know the partner because they've been all together for ages and they all have a discussion. And the discussion goes like this. We are going to have a baby with our partner. Dave Grohl and his wife are going to have a baby with their partner. And we know that the blowback from us saying that we're in an open relationship is going to be so intense that we're just going to say that I'm seeking my family's forgiveness. And then the kids would go, yeah, obviously, like, yeah, say that because, of course, like you don't need our forgiveness. Everything's cool. We've known about this forever. But if this is going to be easier for you as a celebrity, then just do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
and the
possible.
adult kids go, yeah, just say that, you know, and then you can deal with the open relationship down the track.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
That's not the craziest conspiracy theory.
No, but I just feel like he just wouldn't have said anything then. Because I feel like by him having to, get forgiveness and he's made the mistake.
Because he's a celebrity. Like a baby can't just show up because then everyone says crazy shit.
But can't he just be like, he can just not say anything and they can just be hanging out with the baby and
no one knows.
Yeah, well, he just doesn't feed it.
Well, what?
He
doesn't feed the baby?
No, not the baby.
Oh.
The tabloid.
Oh, he doesn't. I thought you were like he doesn't feed the child in public.
Like you mean like he's like he's not on dad duty.
He's never allowed to go to the playground with his kid.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, he can't really do that now anyway. But yeah,
that's true.
Because the thing is with that, and what I would feel as a wife, and I know that there is ego and some pride in this, but like I wouldn't want to be made to feel like a chump. And I feel like that is, the situation where the wife is at now because he's had this baby with a woman who's clearly younger and, whatever. And it looks like she's been cheated on. And even if she wasn't being cheated on, I'd be pissed. Like I feel not like I wouldn't like somebody seeing you out with somebody else and being like, oh, he's having an affair. Like, oh no, like Abby doesn't know what's going on. I mean, maybe their relationship is, on the rocks or, she doesn't know. She's just at home. Like to me, it's like that is embarrassing. And that is, I mean, not that I'm too worried about what people think, but I mean.
Well, it's better to own the narrative.
Just own the narrative. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to come out and share about being non-monogamous is because I want to be able to, if I'm on a date with somebody or you're on a date with somebody and it's just all out in the open. And then if somebody starts whispering things, it's just immediately shut down. It's like, yeah, well, they're non-monogamous.
Yeah.
So I know that's gossip, but it's not like scandalous gossip. Depends who it is.
Yes.
Like, of course, non-monogamy is a bit scandalous.
Yeah. Well, if you think about all of the celebrities who've come out as non-monogamous, there's not a huge amount because the pushback is crazy for any mainstream celebrity. There's there's celebrities who aren't like Janelle Monáe or someone like that who come out as non-monogamous, but it almost suits their brand of like the eccentric, creative type. The thing with Dave Grohl is that he is such a centrist in terms of everyone who loves him. Like conservative people love him.
Everybody loves Dave Grohl.
Like everyone on the left loves him. Like he is a beloved person.
Yeah.
Right? So, for him to come out, he would immediately lose a lot of his fan base by coming out and saying, hey, I'm Dave Grohl and I am non-monogamous.
Yeah, I mean, what are the next albums going to be? This is like an Usher situation. These are my confessions. Like, it's like, what's the Dave Grohl? Like, there's going to be some art that's going to come out. Yeah, he just has to own it. He just has to own this situation. But I want to know if he is non-monogamous, if he's going to own that.
What do you think, if you were a betting woman, which you're not, but if you were, what do you think the percentage chances are that he is non-monogamous?
80%.
80%, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go higher.
Yeah.
I'd go 90%.
No, I want to go higher.
We'll split in the middle, 85%.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe that's a high enough percentage that to say that I genuinely think that Dave Grohl is non-monogamous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was some really interesting timing as well. And I don't know if anyone listening to this
oh my
has
God,
noticed,
yes.
but Esther Perel, the queen,
yes,
the queen of all things, had a really interesting post that maybe it might be something that is worth bringing up. And when you read this,
I rang you immediately.
You phoned me immediately and you were like, this is crazy timing.
It was like, what is going on with the timing of this? Okay, so the Dave Grohl thing came out 2 days ago.
Yes.
Then Esther Perel shares today, 16 hours ago. Today's Friday. This is for the advertisement for her latest podcast episode.
Yes.
A broken rule changed everything in their open relationship. Okay, that's the title. And then a quote says from the person speaking on the podcast. Now we have to say everything to everyone, not only that we are in an open relationship, but that there is a child that is not mine.
Oof.
Esther says, navigating the unexpected can test even the strongest of bonds. In a new episode, a consensual non-monogamous couple faces a new challenge when a broken rule leads to an unexpected pregnancy. Despite their commitment, the arrival of a second child, a new mother, and the public revelation of the couple's openness strains their dynamic.
Oof.
Tune into We Had Boundaries and He Crossed Them on Where Should We Begin. Now listen to this part, okay? So that's the thing that Esther said. It says, and the public revelation of the couple's openness strains. Openness strains their dynamic.
Now, an important thing to mention here is that the episode did come out and it is actually not about Dave Grohl.
But the timing, Liam.
No, I mean, of course, the timing. I just want to save, like, the conspiracy doesn't go that deep.
Okay.
It was not actually Dave Grohl that she was talking about.
No.
But the point of interest here is that these things happen in non-monogamous relationships.
They do.
People have open relationships and people do get their other partners pregnant and then they do have to come out, and that is the reason they have to come out, because they've got to explain to their grandma, why someone else and their baby has to come to Christmas.
And can I also say that this happens in monogamous relationships as well?
So these things do happen. And, it's crazy the timing with Estes. I mean, that is some next level genius marketing.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. And of course, the comments are like, oh my God, it's Dave Grohl. And everyone's like, it's Dave Grohl. And my mind was like, okay, that fits that it would be Dave Grohl, because who can afford to have Esther Perel as their therapist? Yeah. Dave Grohl.
I mean,
how much does she cost? Like what, $2,000 an hour?
Oh, way more than that.
Way more, right?
Yeah,
what?
Way more than that. You have to buy her a house.
What, 10 grand? How much do you think she costs?
Oh, well, I don't think
seriously.
I don't think she'd even want money. I think she'd only be a celebrity's therapist if she just felt like it. She could make so much more money doing anything else that she's not wasting her time at all. She would do therapy for people who have no money, absolutely, because that would be part of her principled nature.
Yeah,
but she would she's not. I just don't think anyone could buy her time.
She would be like Will and Jada, but because I know that she's been on Red Table Talks with Jada, so she's obviously, she's in with that crew.
Okay.
So
look, I mean, I'm not saying that she's not any celebrity's celebrity therapist, but I would be surprised. I don't think she's going around like Hollywood giving therapy sessions and earning like $10 million a day.
No, not $10 million a day, but I mean $16,000 for a package of 3.
I mean, that sounds
US.
That sounds great, but like we went to see her in a room in Sydney, and there were 10,000 people in the room, all paying $100. Now, if you do the maths on that pretty quick, and that took 2 hours.
Yeah, but it's not just about.
Yeah, I know.
She wants to hang. She would want to. She's a working therapist. Like that's.
Well, maybe
what
she just
does.
loves the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, she might be fans. Maybe her kids are fans, her grown-up sons, and she's like, yeah, just tickets, VIP.
Yeah, right. Okay. I was going to say I think Esther Perel's a little bit too old to be having a baby, but I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if it's a celebrity? Like, because they're going to have to say who the mother is,
well,
right?
My mind immediately went to Margot Robbie because you said Australian, and I was like, oh,
that'd be cool. No, she is pregnant, right? Okay, fact check us. I mean, there's people
probably.
I don't know. I think she's pregnant.
I'm not really across it. I think just the algorithm fed me this Dave Grohl thing.
I mean, the algorithm has fed absolutely everyone the Dave Grohl
But can I say that the algorithm cannot figure me out?
Yeah, it's true.
The algorithm is often, I'm getting adverts for, fertility help and things like that. I think the algorithm thinks I'm, maybe I'm trying to have another baby, which I'm not. And then right after that, it'll be for divorce lawyers.
Right.
Because, is your husband having an affair? Or like you're having an affair? Do you think the algorithm thinks that? Well, the algorithm has connected us, like it knows.
Well,
but do you think it thinks that
we are one?
But I feel like it doesn't know what to do. It's like the algorithm can't figure out if like I'm the victim or you're the victim.
Oh, right.
Because obviously my phone is linking up with other phones.
Well, I get a lot of couples counseling.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that fits because we're in the like relationship podcast.
But very specifically, like, is your marriage in trouble? I will help you.
Yeah, I think the algorithm isn't it's not very progressive.
No.
And the algorithm needs to listen to the podcast.
It needs a little update. Well, it is trawling the internet. So there just needs to be more non-monogamous content that floods the field. I
need to get more things sent to me that are like, this is a lovely activity for you and your metamor to do together, or like looking for a nice thing to do with your husband's girlfriend. You should blah 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 blah. Like that would be good.
That'd be some helpful algorithmic.
Exactly, but everybody loves the drama, the algorithm. Everybody, it's wants to feed me divorce lawyers, or the algorithm knew that we were going to just grab to see that and run with it. The algorithm knew that
we would do a podcast, and it was just like, let's just feed them this.
Feed it to these guys.
Yes, but it's so important for an alternate take of this situation, and one that directly addresses the misconception and what the media is running with, which is that it's an affair, because the media cannot say it's an affair without proving that it's an affair. They can't take something that he has said that is deliberately a little bit slippery and kind of elusive and not very specific, and then say, well, through a monogamous lens, he's clearly had an affair, he's been cheating. But through a non-monogamous lens, who knows? Dave Grohl might not have been cheating all along.
I definitely don't think that he was cheating, but I think he might
have made a whoopsies.
I think he's made a big whoopsies with this one. But with the affair thing, this makes me think back to our conversation that we had with Molly Roden Winter.
Yes.
One of the conversations. We've had her on a couple of times. She wrote more. And in her book, I don't want to give away things in the book, but, her mother she discovers, when she's exploring her own non-monogamous journey, that her mother also was in a non-monogamous relationship. She had a lover as well, and her Molly's father knew about this extramarital affair, right? But it was a consensually open relationship, but her parents didn't have the language for what was going on.
Just used
it
the
was
word
consensual,
affair.
but her mother still, even when she was telling Molly about it, she was saying, yeah, like I had an affair. Like your father knew, but I was having an affair, because it's in that extramarital, if it's not monogamous and it's not within the marriage, it's an affair.
Yeah. I mean, that's really interesting.
I sometimes say to you, I'm like, oh, like having a love affair, or like what if, but in that same way. But like for us, it's like, we're not saying it in the cheating sense, but because it is this sort of, it can, I think that it can be something with an affair that sounds kind of glamorous, or it's like, it's kind of not in the real, it's not here, it's not there, it's, there's no place for it. It's just, it's an affair. Like it's not going to, maybe it's not going to turn into anything, or it's not going to, it's like this, you're having getaways and you're,
it adds some eroticism to it.
Yeah. It's
certainly. It kind of adds like some danger.
It's secret, it's taboo. Where can it go?
Right. So maybe Dave Grohl is just looking for some danger.
When you have sort of so much and access to the world and then,
And no amount of NDAs.
Yeah.
Like that's also an interesting thing, is that like if like a lot of these celebrities do have relationships outside of their relationship. And then like whether it's with escorts, consensually, where everyone knows, but then the escorts have to sign NDAs.
Yep.
And that's a thing that is commonplace within entertainment and people with high profiles, politicians, all that kind of stuff. Like that's a tale as old as time. So obviously Dave Grohl, potentially could have had NDAs and then said, bugger it, I'm not going to we're just going to do away with the NDA. We're just going to go full public.
Well, this is the thing. If it was a casual fling or something that didn't have some more sort of significant depth to it within the relationship,
an NDA might have come into play.
Yeah, I mean, he would just pay. The mother.
We are making a good argument.
He would pay the mother to not involve him in this situation. He would pay them to. He would pay them to go away, I reckon, as so many men do.
Yeah, or they end up leaving the partner, like their wife of 20 years and their kids, and then just jump ship. But he has said, actually, I'm not jumping ship. I'm going to support my new child. Yeah. And then I'm also going to seek forgiveness from my family.
He wants it all. He wants it all because maybe he already has it all. And, I think if he's in love with the mother of this child, he wants to be there in the child's life. This is probably a child born, conceived in love. This is hypotheticals. We don't know.
This is hypotheticals, but we are 85% sure that Dave Grohl is non-monogamous.
We're 85% sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really great, I mean, one of my favorite things, and I think mentioned this on the podcast before, but the Carl Lentz and Laura Lentz podcast that they do that escapes my memory. The name of it escapes my memory, but that was a really fascinating look at affairs.
Yeah.
With them being very honest about working through the affair that they had.
That he had, sorry.
The
affairs that he had.
The affairs that he had with, yes.
Yes.
So,
did you finish listening to that whole podcast?
Do you know what? I need to return to it because I listened to the first 4 episodes, I think.
Okay. They're long episodes, right?
Yeah.
Were they?
I mean, it's unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Irrespective of your views on him or the church or, I mean, at the very least, and we've talked about this before, so we don't need to get too into the weeds with it, but it's interesting to hear people talking about affairs because a lot of people have affairs, work through the affair, and end up being in a better place with their relationship than before the affair happened.
Yeah.
Now, that's not advocating for affairs. It's something that mentioning Esther Perel in her book State of Affairs, which is somewhere on a bookshelf just there, it's something that she talks about. I think she makes the analogy that, people don't go out deliberately getting cancer just so they can live a more full life to recover from cancer. It's like
No.
people aren't looking for an affair just so they can reinvigorate their relationship. But a byproduct of having an affair can sometimes be that your relationship ends up even stronger.
Yeah, well, you've stirred the mud, you've had to go through everything, and then you've got it's all out there, the facade of what you were and the hiding, all of that, maybe it's finished, you're exposed.
Yes.
You're in a vulnerable state. Everything's peeled back.
Yeah.
And from that point, you can decide which direction are we going? Are we going to build together?
Right.
Will there be forgiveness?
Yes.
Yep. Taking responsibility.
Absolutely.
Figuring out what it meant.
And what did it mean? I think we should leave the podcast here for today. Do let us know what your thoughts are about our hot take. And potentially in a year or maybe in 6 months, we may look at this podcast and call ourselves prophets because everything we predicted has come true. Dave Grohl is walking through LA with his wife and his partner, and all of the kids are together, and there's this beautiful, happy polycule, and they all live on the ranch, wherever the ranch may be, and it's a beautiful end to the story.
We wish them all the best.
We do wish them all the best.
Sincerely.
And it is a horrible thing to have play out in public. So yeah, we hope that Dave Grohl and everyone are looking after themselves.
That's right.
But if you've enjoyed listening to this episode of the Evolving Love podcast, please feel free to share it with your friends or with anyone who you think might be interested in listening to us talk about Dave Grohl and non-monogamy.
Thank you so much.